Welcome to CityCast Denver. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. So today we're talking about new lobbying rules for City Council, what those colored envelopes your ballots come in really mean, our wins and fails of the week, and so much more. Producer Olivia Jewel Love, hello.
Hello. Do you like how I did it? It sounded
Just
exactly the same as the last time you asked me.
Yes.
Been working on that.
And Denver Post City Hall reporter Elliot Wensler, hi.
Hiya.
Hiya. So before we get into it, really quick reminder, we have this great new newsletter called Keep It Local. Hits your inboxes on Thursdays. This week's edition is all about local outdoor stores to shop for Father's Day. So if you're still looking for a last minute gift for your father or your father-in-law, your husband or your whoever, the father person in your life, we've got a great list for you. You can sign up at denver.citycast.fm and you can read Keep It Local. Comes out every week. Lovely.
It's going to be hard to pry that Cabela's out of my dad's hands. He's very Cabela's coated, but you know what? If I present him these local options, maybe he can be swayed. We'll see.
Yeah, but you got to subscribe to see that amazing list that our newsletter editor Michelle Polizzi put together. So please do that. Okay. Top story. Elliot, it's one that you brought us this week. City Council signing off on a new ordinance to regulate lobbying. The new rules mandate, this is from your story, that anyone paid at least $1,000 to engage in lobbying must report details of their work every 2 months, including when they meet with elected or appointed officials, how much they're paid, which proposals they're supporting or opposing, and who their client is. Elliot, can you tell us a little bit more about this? Because I'll be honest with you, I kind of forget sometimes that lobbying is an aspect of not just at the State House, it's at the city level as well.
Oh, yeah, it is absolutely at the city level as well. And it is interesting as somebody who is in City Hall a lot, it looks really different than it does at the State House. I've worked in both of those buildings. And at the State House, it really is like you are in the lobby and you see all of the lobbyists and you see lobbying happening as you walk through the building. Like anybody could go and see that. Any member of the public can just sort of see
these mini meetings happening all around with elected officials and the lobbyists.
And as lawmakers are leaving the chamber, people will grab them and be like, hey, can I chat with you really quickly? Or sometimes they'll even send a note to somebody in the chamber and ask them to come out and talk to them. So it's it's very visual and interesting to see who's talking to who. Whereas in the city, there's just a lot less of that presence. You'll see lobbyists around from time to time, but it just looks very different. There's way fewer people in those meetings in general. I don't really as often see folks in the lobby having those break-off conversations. Not to say it doesn't happen some, but it just looks a little bit different. But it's definitely still happening. And these are folks who represent all types of clients, whether it be developers or I'm
thinking
law
DIA,
enforcement.
concession,
DIA.
These big contracts that City Council is often signing for
businesses, all sorts of groups that might be interested in the policies that the city is considering. And so they're having meetings with council members and with the administration and trying to, on behalf of their clients, give input, statistics, information, and basically try to sway them to vote the way that their clients want them to vote.
Sure.
And so previously, the folks who did that only had to report their names and their clients, and that's it. It was not really anything beyond that, which is pretty limited, especially, again, when you compare it to the State House.
Yeah, I was going to say that's very little. And I mean, now it's very detailed information they're asking for. Do we know why this came about, or was there an issue in particular, or just someone wanting to update the rules? I know sometimes it's vague.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things that people just realized needed to happen because Councilwoman Torres pointed out that some of the city's biggest issues, like around the flavored tobacco ban, reversing the pit bull ban, those were like really hotly contested issues. They did not produce any lobbying reports whatsoever. And so I think some council members just kind of started to realize like the rules we have in place are not enough. And the clerk and recorder's office got involved. They also said, I have a quote from Councilwoman Torres who said, we're seeing a different level of lobbying taking place in our current political climate, and we can't be behind the ball and not able to be transparent with the public and the media about what's happening. So it sounds like they're just seeing more and more lobbying activity, and they wanted to be able to make sure that they have the right rules in place in case something needs to be reported on publicly, and just to kind of have that transparency.
I feel like as a constituent, this makes me like feel better that there's like more transparency, because like I don't know, and perhaps it's naive of me, you know, in this system, but I'm kind of like, you know, these elected officials are supposed to be representing my, you know, my
your interests,
you know,
yeah,
as their constituent, and the fact that people are, you know, in there trying to sway their votes for their corporation kind of gives me the ick. And the fact that that was just so kind of under the table before is really not something that was super on my radar and is kind of grossing me out. And so I'm glad this is happening. And I also am like kind of questioning myself. I'm like, oh my God, I really need to like lock in here and like think, because like, you know, I know about lobbyists, but I just like didn't really think about like the fact that everyone's getting lobbied, you know, and like every freaking kind of organization is lobbying, and it's just, it's just insane. I don't know. I'm just feeling weird.
I'm also
existential
thinking
crisis.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, don't think too hard about it, Olivia, or you will be up at night. Especially when what Elliot mentioned at the State House, it's even crazier. But it is like it's really an interesting thing, because the council members are signing massive contracts, often, you know, multiple in one session, that do have a lot to do with like which janitorial company gets this huge contract. Who are they connected to? How did they get into the fold? There's always questions about who put in, you know, who actually put in an RFP, a request for proposal. Was this an issue of, you know, like personal connection or something? And I think it sounds like this is meant to address that. But it is interesting to me. I'm thinking a lot about Jamie Torres's comments, and like, it's 2026. It's really interesting that we're just now maybe seeing this as a problem.
So what is the new disclosure that has to be done?
So anybody who is paid over $1,000 to lobby, every 2 months, they will have to register how much they're being paid, who are the council members or members of the administration that they're like meeting with to try to sway, what issues are they supporting or opposing, who's paying them, things like that.
It seems pretty basic to me, but also like, I guess now's the time.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't realize this wasn't really being reported. This is also kind of like, I'm kind of coming in from ground level here, but like, is there anybody on council or like in these positions that you know of that just like won't play ball with them? Like, is that even a thing of anyone who's like, no, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to a lobbyist. Like, I'm going to do my own thing.
Not that I'm aware of. And I also, this is going to be maybe a crazy thing to say for folks who are not like in the political world day in, day out. I think the word lobbyist is often seen as like a bad word. And I think when you are closer to the politics, you realize that like kind of like anything, sure, there can be lobbyists who maybe represent interests that you think are bad, but there are also lobbyists who represent maybe interests that are aligned with things that you support. So they could just be like a wealth of knowledge on some really specific topic that you care about, but maybe, you know, your council member cares about, but doesn't know the ins and outs of whatever specific policy. Yeah. So I don't think that they would necessarily say, no, I won't hear from anyone. But I think all of them would probably say, you know, these are not folks that are making their decisions, but they're free to like bring information and, you know, try to influence.
Yeah, I think that's such a good question, Olivia. And it really is. Influence is one thought, but also education behind a particular issue is another component of this. And that's a really good point, Elliot, that lobbyist is kind of this like broad term that is often seen as negative. And again, like the examples I was giving of big contracts is one thing, but I'm also thinking about, I know a lot of lobbyists, folks that work on immigrants' rights issues, reproductive justice issues, and a lot of their job is just like saying, this is the most recent information we have on this topic that is being voted on or decided on, and we would love for you to consider this side of the conversation. So it does still feel tricky sometimes, but when you think about how many things lawmakers and city council have to be pretty dialed in on to make decisions on every day, it's a lot. It's a lot of different issues.
It absolutely is. Do we also want to talk about the other part of this, which is Olivia, this might blow your mind even more, the cooling off period?
I was just gonna ask you about this, Elliot, what the cooling off period is and why it exists.
Okay, I did read about this in your article, and I want you to explain it, but I got feelings.
So basically, in Congress, at the State House, there is a rule that you cannot go from being an elected lawmaker immediately into becoming a lobbyist, because the fear is that basically people will get offered a job while they're still in office, and they'll say, hey, this is contingent upon you voting a certain way or you swaying your colleagues a certain way. And so to try to prevent folks from using their position to secure future income, they impose these cooling off periods. And they're of varying different lengths, but this new ordinance would require at least 6 months between elected officials and some appointed members becoming lobbyists.
Like taking a job essentially in the private sector or something outside. This also blew my mind because when I realized this was actually something that happened all the time, when I first really got interested in how city politics work 10 years ago, I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean you can just term out and then go start your own consulting company that deals directly with the development projects that you were voting on as a council person or whatever position, and now you work for the company that was trying to get those contracts passed? That is a very real thing that happens across politics. So this is an interesting piece of it, is you can't make that jump. I mean, I've seen elected officials leave their positions to go work in the private sector before their term is even up. So this is not an uncommon thing, but the cooling off period that feels like good foresight, or at least something that's maybe hopefully preventing stuff that has been
I can't believe this wasn't a thing before.
I
know.
But this is so interesting this is one of those moments where I'm like, oh my God, we're kind of watching our city make a huge decision that could have impacts in the future on how things go in a way that I just hadn't thought about before the reporting from you, Elliot. Well, we want to know what you think. Maybe you're a lobbyist, or you've worked in this world. Maybe maybe you're a former elected official. We'd love to know, what is the insides of this that maybe we are not aware of? Let us know, 720-500-5418. Shoot us a text or leave us a voicemail and let us know. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're talking about ballot color conspiracies. This episode is brought to you by the Central City Opera. The 94th Central City Opera Festival opens June 27th. Since 1932, Central City Opera has been one of Colorado's favorite arts traditions, bringing world-class talent to an 1878 opera house just 1 hour west of Denver. This summer, Central City Opera is celebrating Colorado's 150th anniversary and 250 years of American independence with an anniversary all their own, the 70th anniversary of their world premiere of The Ballad of Baby Doe. The show tells the scandalous historical love story of Silver Baron Horace Tabor, who has left his wife Augusta for Baby Doe, which rocked Denver society and remains a staple of Colorado history. Oh my God, I'm obsessed with Baby Doe. I want to see this show so bad. I know it's a scandalous story because Augusta Tabor doesn't get the credit she deserved for being a very cool lady. But there's something intriguing about Baby Doe. If you've ever seen pictures of her, she's gorgeous. And there's a reason there was a mining-themed restaurant named after her in Denver, because we love Baby Doe. Other shows this summer include The Marriage of Figaro, Masterclass, CCO in Concert, and so much more. Tickets start at $32 and seats are going fast, so don't miss out. The festival runs June 27th through August 2nd. Visit centralcityopera.org to learn more. So we're talking about primary. Okay, the primary's at the end of the month. First of all, let's just say that June 30th. This has been a big race for a lot of different positions. Before we get to the November ballot, this is just as important, and ballots have gone out. I don't know. Have Elliot and Olivia, have you gotten your ballots yet?
Yep. Just got mine in the mail.
So did I. I haven't even opened it yet. Well, last week, conservative and former Aurora City Council member Daniel Jurinsky posted photos on socials of several primary ballots that went out in Arapahoe County. Two that were white Republican envelopes and tealish green unaffiliated voter ballot envelopes. And she wondered in that post if the ballots were being, quote, flagged. So, I mean, just a little background. If you're not familiar with Daniel Jurinsky, this is also the former council member who claimed Venezuelan gangs had taken over the city of Aurora. She was caught sending F-bomb-laden text messages to her fellow council members. So I have to say, I wasn't surprised by her comments or thoughts on the ballot coding, but 9 News looked into this.
Well, so I will say that she wasn't the only one.
Oh, she wasn't. Okay.
No, not by any means. I was seeing a lot of this. I have somehow kind of found my way onto right-wing Twitter, which is a really interesting place for me to be. If you know who I am, I'm clearly just lurking there in the background, but I am there. So watch out. I'm there.
What did you see, Olivia?
So I saw this one from this account, Free State Colorado, and it was Jefferson County envelopes, which that's where I'm a registered voter. And it said, this isn't right. Republican voters have an orange return envelope for their ballot. Unaffiliated voters have a purple return envelope. If someone wanted to tamper with ballots, this makes it easier, ... Why not just use the same return envelope for anyone? Or for everyone. And so when I saw this, I had just gotten my ballot in the mail and I was like, ooh, time to do an unboxing. I was like, I've got a blind box here. I wonder what color I'm going to get. I was like, because I'm not either of those things they named. So I was like, what color am I going to get? So I'm looking at the, what option am I going to get? I was like, I hope I get the Rainbow Pride Month edition ballot. Unfortunately, I didn't. I got an orange ballot as well. So I was like, well, this is not a Republican ballot. So interesting. But so I was like, plans foiled. But yeah, so 9 News kind of broke into this because there was a lot of this on Twitter. People were like, why would they do this? Everybody from all these different counties were posting them. They were like, look, mine's different. Look, mine's different. And I was just, they were like, they're flagging them so they know which ones to throw away. And,
that is the funniest part of this to me, the flagging and who's going to do that with these ballots. But Elliot, what did you think about this? I mean, you cover politics. This is just another layer of what we're dealing with every day. But
yes. Yeah. I mean, it seems in some ways just similar to some of the conspiracy theories that we've heard in recent years. And I think what I thought was an interesting comment in the 9 News story was, we can think questions about our ballots and we can either take to Twitter or we can call our local clerk and ask a question. And then maybe rather than raising panic, we can maybe inform folks on this is what I learned from my clerk. And I doubt that the people of Twitter will take that route going forward, but it is an option for everyone when you have a question or something doesn't seem right. Also, it's fair to be unsure about things and to not know what something means, but there are resources out there that can answer those questions.
So yeah, the affiliated voters got a different colored ballot or a different, looking ballot because they only get one. They get either, whatever party they're affiliated with, they get the one ballot, but unaffiliated voters get both. And then the clerk needs to make sure they only returned one of them because if they return both, neither of them are counted. So that's what they cited for them looking different. Just for
sure. It's for sorting purposes. Yeah.
Categorizing things. I was, a little bit kind of caught off guard. I still am kind of caught off guard by the mail-in voting, election denying stuff here. Like it does kind of confuse me. And I also was like, why are we worried? Tina Peters is free. Like, she's going to protect you. Like, you know what? She's free. She's going to keep your election safe. Like, why are you worried right now? Free state Colorado. But I don't know.
She's the people's clerk and recorder, I guess. Yeah, I'm perplexed by this too as well, Olivia, because it is, you get a text that your ballot is coming to you, and then it comes in the mail. And then when you fill it out and drop it off, you get a text that it was received. You get a text that it was counted. Then you get, there's a process all along the way that I think Colorado's done a great job for the most part of trying to be as transparent as possible with this part of the process, right? There was something in the 9 News reporting that really bothered me, though, because now I'm on a high horse about postal workers because my brother's a postal worker. But it was like, each county designs its own color system, like we're talking about, and the meanings vary county to county. If the conspiracy is that the color tells a postal carrier or an election worker which ballots to make disappear, that would never work. I want to say, for one, postal workers don't care. They're literally trying to get the mail out and go on their way. Like, the post office is so under-resourced and understaffed, and this is like a public good that we need. Sometimes my brother does 2 or 3 routes in one day. He doesn't just do his route. He does other people's routes because there's nobody to do them. So if you think that he's like taking time to sit down and take your ballots out and like throw them in the trash or whatever, it's just like mind-boggling to me, where I'm like, just talk to anybody who's delivering your mail. They don't have time to do this, nor do they care.
I also saw somebody on like one of these conspiracy threads that I was lurking on, and they were kind of trying to make a point about mail-in ballots, and they're like, well, this is why I only vote in person, so you all should do that too. And I was like, no, but this is a great thing. If you are concerned about this and you don't feel comfortable mailing in your ballot,
you can
go vote in person, and that is an option for you.
Sure.
And like, you don't have to trust it. You can go vote in person. You can go do that. So like, I think that's a great option. If you are still freaked out about it, if you don't like having the color-coded ballot, go vote in person. You have that option. Colorado gives you a lot of options. I come from a state where there is no mail-in ballot. So like, the first time I got just like the text, the ballot was coming to my mailbox, I was like, no way. Like, this is crazy. Like, because I was so used to standing in line for hours to vote on election day.
Yeah.
Or like vote
You
early.
don't have
but
to
like,
do that here.
It's literally the convenience. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, it just comes. Also, I feel like it probably has so many more people voting because it literally just comes to you. It comes to your mailbox, and then you just fill it out and you can just send it back. Like, I'm always somebody who takes mine to a Dropbox because that's just my little ritual. But like, I just was literally mind blown when I came from a state that like I always had to vote in person. And then it's like the ballot just showed up here. I was like, I didn't do anything except when I got my Colorado driver's license, registered to vote, and then boom, it was here. I was like, wow. It's just, yeah, I was blown away by the convenience. I mean, I guess I am a Gen Z. I'm like, yes, give me the convenient factor.
I mean, people that are against accessibility always perplex me. Like, oh, you're against more people voting. You're against more people having access. Because again, like you said, who has time sometimes to wait in line for several hours to make sure that they get to their polling place in time? A lot of folks don't have the luxury of that because they're working. And it doesn't mean that they don't want to vote, but like sometimes it takes up more time than they're actually having that one day you get to vote versus the month that you get here to do it by mail.
Yeah, it's also nice to be able to do your research while you're filling out your ballot rather than having to try to like memorize. And if there's like, sometimes there's really full ballots with like complex questions, and it's sometimes the ways the questions are phrased is confusing. So it's nice to be able to like have whatever your preferred ballot guide is up and think about your, what you want to do and fill it out.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Happy ballot filling out, everybody. Again, you have till June 30th. You can mail it in. I don't remember what the mail-in deadline is, but like Olivia said, you can take it to a Dropbox up to the day of on June 30th. So please do that. Please participate. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, it's either wins and fails, or we are talking World Cup if you are a CityCast Denver neighbor. So if you are a neighbor, you get this special segment that's just for you. That's the three of us chatting directly with you about some thoughts on the World Cup. If you are not a member, you can go to membership.citycast.fm right now and sign up and get that bonus content. And we'll see you on the other side. Okay, we are back. It's our wins and fails of the week. Things that ruled, things that sucked. As always, we start with the fails so we can end on a good note. Olivia, what is your fail?
My fail, I found this Reddit thread on r/Denver from God is a Mountain. Amen, sister. But it said they were asking, is there anywhere to buy sewing needles at the airport? And people kind of got confused in the comments, thinking that they were talking about like hypodermic needles, and they were like freaking out, which I'm like, there's also a use for those, guys. Like, let's be real.
Also, just read.
My fail here is that I agree with this person. Why don't we have any craft stores at the airport? This is like, there's never a time. I mean, I am such a craft girl, but there's never a time where I'm like, dang it, I forgot my crochet stuff. I need something to do. My flight's delayed. What if we just had a little hobby store? Michael's satellite at the DIA? We need it. It's such a fail to me that we do not have one. Like, please, just a few craft supplies. Like, you know, I see that you've got like the coloring books and the crayons for the kids, but like just have a couple like cross stitch kits, have like some yarn and some crochet hooks, just like a couple things like that for us crafty girls who are stranded. I feel like it would do so well. So that's my fail, is that we don't already have that. And I just saw this thread and it like reignited this in me of like the amount of times I've been like, dang it, I forgot my craft. So
I love that, Olivia. I actually am I just started making friendship bracelets on really long international flights. Aww. Because it's like you just need something to do with your hands. Like when you are stuck somewhere and you like can't move your body, it's nice to be able to do a craft.
Yes. Well, DIA, if you're listening,
please.
This is a new potential vendor. Get out there, figure it out. We need this. Elliot, what's your fail?
My fail is that not only am I slightly ill, but it seems like many people I know are having a bit of a summer cold right now. And so it's not that bad, but just as sort of a cautionary tale, everybody, like maybe a moment to not be sharing drinks with your buddies and like washing your hands a little bit extra, because it seems like something, at least a cold, is going around right now. So
yeah. And wear a mask if that makes you feel more comfortable. I think that's always helpful for everybody, thinking about all the immunocompromised folks out there. But it's a good reminder, Elliot, because just because it's summertime doesn't mean we're not getting those gnarly colds that we tend to get in the winter. Yeah. My fail really quickly goes to Bomar. It is going through with the plans that we talked about last week to cut off access to public roads. The comments in this town meeting that Drew Soicher reported on at 9 News are really weird.
That was fun.
So they're like, how's this going to, Kyle Clark, again, on our show last week, we were talking about this with Adrian Felix, but he questioned in this latest reporting, like, okay, so how are they going to do this? And so folks that live there will get tags that will be scanned in, and then the gates will automatically open. And Kyle was like, okay, so what if you're a delivery driver, a landscaper, or a dog walker? And apparently they will receive a special code to get in. But I can see all kinds of issues here. Well, I mean, maybe if their password is 1234, sure. But also, this is just ripe for profiling. I mean, I hate to go this bleak, but I'm thinking about with Trayvon Martin. He was in a gated community. He was a 17-year-old walking around, and George Zimmerman had fashioned himself as the neighborhood watch. And that child lost his life because someone had profiled him in a gated community. So I'm just thinking about the folks that even if they have access because they're doing work inside this community, I would worry about their safety. And and also cutting off access to public roads. Come on.
My automatic response to this was thinking about that pilot who lost it at DIA and took out an axe and chopped down the arm at the parking lot. This was like a couple years ago.
You got to see it. It's crazy.
He like chopped down the arm of this parking garage because he got so pissed off that the arm wouldn't go up for him. And I was like, how soon is that going to happen where somebody tries to go through here? Because I'm like, if I had a big truck, like I might consider just like plowing through it. Like I've always, if I had the I mean, me and my little Subaru,
I was like, watch out for Olivia and her Subaru.
My Subaru is not going to pull that off. I don't have a grate on the front of my thing, but like if I had a big truck, maybe I would. I don't know. I don't have a lot to lose. I mean, maybe I do, but I don't know. I did immediately think of that video of that guy going crazy on the arm, and I was like, Bomar when? So yeah.
Well, thumbs down to Bomar. Just not cool. Not cool. Okay, we're going to do our wins. I'll go really quickly. I went to an award ceremony earlier this week for the Bonfie Stanton Artist Impact Awards. They awarded 3 artists here in Denver $50,000 each. $15,000 of that will go to a specific project that the artists have pitched to create something within the community that serves the community. And then $35,000 of that goes directly into the artists' pockets. What I love about this project or this award is that artists get cash money to do what they need to do to be able to do their art. And for so long, these sorts of awards and grants have all these strings attached that don't often serve the needs of the artists themselves. So this award is also shout out to Chrissy Deal at Bonfie Stanton and all the folks in the community that voted on these artists. But they now can pay their rent. They could buy a new camera if they're a photographer. They could pay medical bills. They could pay daycare. All these things that help artists make the things that they want to make in the world. And I was lucky enough to be friends with all 3 of the folks that got awards this time around. Stephen Brackett, co-founder of Flowbots, the organization that became Youth on Record, as well as a member of the Flowbots. Armando Gennaro, who just put out this great book last year called God Bless the Block, which is a photographic documentary experience of folks in the 5 Points neighborhood just living in their community. He took these great photos. And of course, one of my besties, Kaylin Heffernan, an artist, activist, disability advocate who does amazing work. And what's really cool is all 3 of these folks have created programs that will serve young people. So look out for what the money yields. But I'm just so proud. And I'm so proud of Denver that we support arts in this way. So cool.
That's awesome.
Olivia, what's your win this week?
Well, in a similar heartwarming vein, we saved 1,000 fish. Yay!
What?
Yeah. Well, so
How?
Colorado Parks and Wildlife saved more than 1,000 fish from Antero Reservoir because they needed to drain it because of the drought. And so they captured a bunch of these fish and relocated them to 11 Mile Reservoir, and some of them were sent into the South Fork of the South Platte River. And I think that's cool. Like, we saved the
That's
fish,
amazing.
because, a reservoir, it's to be used. Of course,
Yeah.
we're in this drought condition, which sucks, but, had to use the water we have. But yeah, they also captured them by doing electrofishing. And I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's
No.
essentially where they kind of shock the water and then the fish get stunned and they float up. So then they can scoop them all up and put them where they need to go. They're fine, but it just temporarily stuns them. But it was reminding me, I was like, the Missouri equivalent of this, which is not legal and not something you should do and totally not ethical, but I've seen it happen before, is throwing in a quarter stick of dynamite into the lake and then it
Oh my
stuns all the
God.
fish and then they float up and then you can scoop them all up for bait fish to use to fish with bigger
Whoa.
fish. Anyway,
Y'all
that's
do it,
just a little
y'all do it
that's a
different
little-
over there.
that's a little tale of life in the countryside. But yeah, so this is cool. Good job, CPW. Nice save.
I like it. Elliot, take us out. What you win?
Wow. Another award similar to you, Bree, but this one is the James Beard Restaurant and Chef Awards.
Yes.
A Denver chef, Penelope Wong, owner of Yuan Wonton in Denver, won just recently. Used to be a food truck and now is a restaurant. I actually it has been on my list forever and I haven't been there yet. And I'm so excited to go and just really happy for her and for the Denver food scene to be getting recognition like that. I love food and restaurants and eating. So it's always so cool to see Denver's restaurant scene doing really well.
I'm just laughing because all of us also have not gone yet. And wow, did we all miss the boat? Because now
It's going to be
Homegirl's going to be busier than ever.
Yep.
You get that James Beard nod and then, which is amazing, but get ready to stand in line.
Yep.
I was like, my peasant ass is never going. Dang it.
No, but it's so cool. It's really cool. This has really happened in the last decade or so that Denver's finally getting recognized on a bigger scale for the things that chefs do here, that they bring here, that they create here. And yeah, Penelope's worked really hard. So good for her. That was awesome. Well, Elliot, Olivia, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. Our producers this week were Paul Caroli, Olivia Jewel Love, Adrian Gonzalez, and Elizabeth Kama. Michelle Polizzi writes our morning newsletter. I'm Bree Davies, your host. Our music is by Los Mocachetes with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. Our ad music is by Cuba Quartet from Epidemic Sounds via Getty Images. If you haven't already, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and tell Chef Penelope Wong about us next time you see her. You can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Denver neighbor today at membership.citycast.fm. You can sign up for our daily newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. And just a note, we're taking tomorrow off in honor of Juneteenth, but we will be back in your feed on Monday. See you next week.
No signature sign off?
Ugh, I don't know.
Hurry.
I know, I was like, I got to get out of here.
See you guys at the restaurant. See you guys at the dumplings.
Wow.
They're getting worse.